The slides that we share today, you can also find them back on our website on the open call page under the title of downloads. Okay, let's get started. So Perform Europe is a program which aims to reimagine international touring of performing arts. It is co-funded by the Creative Europe program of the European Union, and it is led by a consortium of 6 partners. ITM, the International Network for Contemporary Performing Arts. There's Pearl, EFA, the European Festivals Association, Circostrada for Outdoor Arts and Circus, European Dance Development Network, and IDEA Consult. And Perform Europe is a funding scheme for the performing arts sector in all Creative Europe countries. The open call of Perform Europe has been officially launched on the 1st of December and remains open for 4 months until the 31st of March 2024. In total, there is a budget of 2.1 million euro available that will be granted to at least 35 successful partnership projects. And I will explain later why it will be at least 35 and also what we mean by partnership projects. Perform Europe will be funding new and impactful ideas to make the touring of performing arts more inclusive, more diverse, and greener. Perform Europe really wants to make change. And therefore, we invite partnerships to come up with innovative proposals and courageous ideas to change the way in which we tour and present performing arts across borders today. This aim for change translates into the 2 priorities that are in focus of the open call. The first one, diversity and inclusion, and the second one, the fight against climate change. And so partnerships who will apply will choose one or both of these priorities as a focus of their proposal. Now, if you would like to gain more insight in the vision of Perform Europe and how we define these priorities, we invite you to read the open call and guidelines document, where we mention what these terms can mean in the context of the performing arts today. And then with the ambition to move towards a fairer sector, we will particularly welcome projects by or involving the areas and communities which are currently underrepresented in the performing arts mobility flows. These include, but are not limited to, of course, members of the LGBTQIA+ community, people and organizations based in rural areas, having underrepresented gender, racial, or ethnic backgrounds, people with disabilities, and anyone else identifying as a member of an underrepresented within the performing arts landscape. As selection criteria next to the quality, of course, of your proposal and how you address one or both of the mentioned priorities, all of the Perform Europe proposals should implement the following cross-cutting priorities or criteria. All proposals should aim for quality and innovation, and all partnerships and proposals should be built on fair principles. This is essential. And I would like to point out that there is a document describing all the eligibility criteria, but also evaluation criteria and the evaluation process on our website. It is also on this open call page under downloads. And by now we have actually also added it to the open call and guidelines so that when you download that, you immediately get that information too. We highly recommend reading them before applying. And because, I wanted to say something else. You will see that the criteria for evaluation are first, the relevance of the project, second, the quality of the content and the activities. So that is the quality of the artistic work, but also of the partnership, of the touring proposal, whether the project is really innovative, and how realistic the budget is, and how well it corresponds to the artistic plans. Then a third criteria would be fairness, and a last criterion would be the communication and the outreach of your proposal. Now on eligibility. The call is open to performing arts professionals and organizations legally based in one of the 40 Creative Europe countries. Applications have to be made by partnerships, and that means a partnership is a minimum of 3 partners collaborating, and they are based in 3 different Creative Europe countries. And in their proposal, they need to be presenting a minimum of 1 performing arts work again in 3 different Creative Europe countries. All the performing arts disciplines are eligible under the call, excluding live music performances, and this also means opera productions. And that is because we work complementary to the Music Moves Europe initiative. Just to avoid confusion, music theater is eligible for Perform Europe. And then this concept of the Creative Europe countries, that actually means all the countries that are taking part in the EU's Creative Europe program. They are listed here, and currently that is 27 member states, but also 13 participating countries, so 40 countries in total. Unfortunately, this time, professionals and organizations based in the UK are no longer eligible for Perform Europe. They were in Perform Europe 1 pilot edition. And then just important to know is that what counts is where an individual or organization is legally based and not their nationality. If you are, for example, an artist with Japanese nationality, it is not a Creative Europe country, but you're legally based in Lithuania, you are eligible. Imagine you are a Lithuanian artist based in Japan, you are not eligible, just to make that clear. And then in terms of funding, there's 2.1 million euro. As I mentioned before, that will be awarded to at least 35 partnerships. And that is because the grants are divided into 3 categories. You can apply for 12,000, 32,000 or 60,000 euro, with 60,000 being the maximum that can be granted to one partnership. The partnerships will choose the grant amount that they apply for. It's really up to them to decide in relation to the project that they envision. So this means that all the criteria and all the conditions are the same for all the categories. We will incorporate specific support to the Ukrainian performing arts community, as 5% of the total funding will go towards partnerships with the Ukrainian partners or initiatives that support the Ukrainian performing arts sector. When you draft your budget for your Perform Europe proposal, know that the grant can cover the following costs. Staff costs for coordination of the project, travel, accommodation, and subsistence of everyone involved in the presentations, artistic fees and salaries of everyone, again, involved in the presentations, subtitling and translation fees, also copyright fees, the rental of venues and equipment, also the cost for transport of equipment, and that includes insurance and permits, costs for organizing workshops, masterclasses, ateliers, or other parallel activities where you will connect with local communities or where you might connect with local communities. And then there's a line for specific accessibility costs. And those are costs that the project will make, or that you will make to make the project more accessible for people with disabilities, whether they are artists, art workers, or audience. And these expenses can, for example, cover services and accommodations such as sign language interpretation, captioning, accessible facilities, sensory-friendly presentations, assistive technology, and so on. Then there's also a line for specific greening costs, and those are expenses incurred for implementing environmentally sustainable practices. And these costs can, for example, again, include energy efficient processes, lower carbon travel options, materials made from sustainable sources, costs to improve carbon footprint, and so on. Then there's also a line you will see for communication costs, and finally one for training costs, where each partnership is obliged to dedicate at least 1.5% of the requested grant to training. And this training should revolve around one of the priorities that the partnership will address, and should aim to align the partners in terms of skills and knowledge about this topic. Perform Europe will provide a list of potential trainers with different expertise, but partnerships are really free to hire their own trainers outside this list with this budget. And then very important to note is that a Perform Europe grant does not cover production costs for new creations. So proposals need to include an already finished artistic work, a finished artistic production, or a concept that is ready to tour and be presented across borders. To be precise, it should be finished before the start of the first implementation date of projects of Perform Europe, which is the 1st of July 2024. So not necessarily before you apply, 31st of March is that deadline, but it needs to be finished by the 1st of July 2024. Then there are two different tools that have been uniquely developed for Perform Europe, the matchmaking tool and the toolkit. It is important to mention that both are optional to use, but we are quite enthusiastic about them, and I will very briefly introduce them to you. So if you're looking for partners, you can use our matchmaking tool. On our website, you can create a profile with all relevant information about yourself or your organization. You can use tags and filters to look for anybody else who's already on there. And you can send each other match requests. And upon a successful match, your contact information will be unlocked and you can start communicating. We believe that this tool will be highly beneficial in fostering diversity in the partnerships. This is an example of what a profile page looks like. I'm going to wait for the next slide. Yes. And on your profile, you see you can include an image, title, description of yourself, your organization, what you have to offer in a Perform Your partnership, but also what you would need from Perform Your partnership, the topics that you work on, and so on. There are, at the moment, I didn't check this morning, but I think we are at about 650 profiles created up until today. And many more are added each day, so it goes really fast. I would say don't hesitate to do the same. Use it to explore your options. Creating a profile does not mean you need to hand in an application. Once you are registered, you will be able to access what I would call this matchmaking dashboard, where you can see the other, where you can search for other profiles with the search tags in the black box. I think they are for country, discipline, and topics that the organization or person works on. You can see the ones that you have marked as favorites. You can see the ones with whom you have matched, and so on. We will really quickly browse through a list of some of the already registered profiles, just to show you a bit the diversity of them. Here's a company from Georgia, one from Ukraine here, a festival in Norway, a vertical dance company in France. I see a performance from Denmark. And then another tool that has been uniquely created for Perform Europe is the toolkit. It was developed by Idea Consult to help applicants set up meaningful partnerships and create an impactful proposal. You can download it on our website, again, on the same page, open call, downloads. I would say really just go download it, discover it. You will see that by going through different levels, it will spark conversation with potential partners. It will help you together with those partners identify the common goals, but also the challenges that you might encounter and whether you can overcome them. And finally, it will help you to craft project proposals that are aligned with Perform Europe's aims. Now, if you want to apply, just know that it all happens on our website. Of course, read the open call and guidelines in detail, also with the award and eligibility criteria. Register your account on the website. That is necessary for you to be able to apply. You can maybe find partners using the matchmaking tool, set up your partnership and plan your proposal, fill in the digital application form and attach the budget. You can access both once you are registered, and of course, submit those before the deadline of the 31st of March. Then to conclude, I can show you the timeline. The call is now open until the 31st of March. We know that by now. Once the call is closed, independent evaluators will assess and select the projects, and by the 3rd of June, we will announce the selection. And then from the 1st of July 2024 until the 30th of November 2025, the partnerships have 17 months to implement their proposal. I will now pass the mic to my colleague, Christina, who will share with you some more information about events, as well as a few tips and handy documents.
Yes, hello everyone, good morning, and thank you, Karen. I'm happy that you all joined us today. And before we start the question and answer session, we want to share with you the information on the upcoming events. Until the end of the call, we offer various information and networking events in connection with the open call. All those events are listed in the events calendar on the activities page on our website. Some are organized by the partner networks of Perform Europe, and additionally, some Creative Europe desks are also hosting information sessions, often in local languages. We are also planning an additional session to look at the application form and budget form more in detail, closer to the deadline. So we will post the date of this event on the calendar soon, and then you can also register for that. Then on the activities page on our website, you can also find a section with news, where we share important updates as we roll out the entire Perform Europe project. Another section is resources, where we collected research and documentation about topics that are relevant for Perform Europe applications. For example, on good practices for inclusion, handbook for greening practices, the research results of Perform Europe's pilot edition, and many more. And also, to get inspired, we invite you to check out the section Stories, where we share the journeys of the projects that were selected in the pilot edition. If you still have any questions about the open call after reading the open call and guidelines, you can consult the document containing the frequently asked questions on our website. Or as mentioned, you can also join one of our upcoming help desk sessions if new questions arise. Thank you for listening. And to conclude, subscribe to our newsletter and social media channels to stay updated. Check out our new website and register and create a profile on the website to find partners and apply. Thank you.